In this video, you'll learn how to use SalesLogix Mobile version 2.2. Let's explore some of the new features and additional actions that are native to a mobile environment. The first thing we do is launch the SalesLogix Mobile website inside of our mobile device's browser app to get to the logon screen, which you're looking at now. If your device has the option to add bookmarked pages to your home screen, your options for recording phone calls and emails to notes history may be different. So I recommend that you access SalesLogix Mobile from within your browser app instead of launching it from your mobile device's home screen. You can probably tell that I'm using a PC to record this video inside of a Chrome browser, but to simulate a more mobile look and feel, I'm using a user agent switcher plugin to toggle between different mobile operating systems. So the one I'll start with is iOS, and we'll just do for the iPad so we get that kind of smooth experience. Let's log on to SalesLogix Mobile using a user account Lee Hogan. So I'm going to do Lee, no password, and I'm going to choose the option to remember my logon credentials. Turning this option on allows us to bypass the logon screen the next time we launch SalesLogix Mobile from our device. Also note, before I click the logon button, you'll see here in the copyright that Mobile version 2.2 is designed to run on SalesLogix version 8.0 or higher. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and log on, and once I do, the first screen that I see is the My Activities list, which shows me all of my scheduled activities, such as meetings and phone calls and to-dos. I can add a new activity by clicking this plus icon in the upper right. I'm going to go back. Or I can work with any of these existing activities. Clicking on an icon next to an activity, so if I click the to-do icon, will expand this submenu that allows me to perform related quick actions. Any items that do not apply to the activity type are grayed out. In this example, the accept and decline items are not available because this activity was not sent to me as an invitation from another user. So my options are to either complete it or I can call the contact. And the reason this item is available is because there is a phone number attached to this activity. I can simply click the icon again to collapse that menu, or I can click on the activity itself, which opens the detail view if I want to see even more information, or maybe even edit information or complete the activity to record it to history. If I do choose to complete the activity, the history record provides another opportunity for me to modify any details. For example, if I wanted to add any notes, or if I wanted to schedule a follow-up, I could do that as well. Once I save the history record, the My Activities view appears again. I won't see that activity that I just modified anymore because it's no longer a scheduled activity, but I can always find it again on the history panel of the related account or contact record. Another item on this screen is the lookup box. The lookup box applies to most all list views like this one, although the search fields and lookup by options vary depending on the screen that you're looking at. For activities, entering a keyword in the lookup box will search within the regarding field, so that's this top one here, of each record in this group using the contains lookup preference. For example, if I type the word dinner and click search or click lookup, I see all activities, regardless of whether it's a meeting or phone call or to-do, with the word dinner anywhere in the regarding field. Similarly, if I were to type meeting instead of dinners, I can type any word in the regarding field. You'll see that I get even more results. So this lookup just shows us the results of any matching strings, not just the starts with lookup by preference. The attachments and notes history views also use this contains preference like the activities list does, but most other views use the starts with. Now that we've explored the My Activities view a little bit, let's take a look at the other views that are available to us. The menu button in the upper left is always available to us so that we can easily get to other features. In previous versions of SalesLogix Mobile, you had to go back to the top level home screen in order to get to other views, whereas this slide out menu feature in version 2.2 saves you a few clicks each time you use different views. In the menu, we have the familiar quick actions and go to panels. We also have this Other panel that now houses the menu items that used to appear at the bottom of every mobile view in previous versions. So we call these dividers panels. You'll see panels throughout the application, and they just help to reduce the amount of scrolling. For example, you can click the blue circle to expand or collapse the different panels. The Quick Actions panel has one item under it. It contains features that make it easy to perform commonly used features like adding a new account and contact. The Go-To panel lists all the different views that we can drill into to find more data. You'll see that most of the items that you're used to working with in any of the non-mobile versions of SalesLogix are here, minus a few. The ones listed here are probably the items you'll want to work with most often when you're on the go. And you can simply just click any of these items to see more. For example, if we want to see our calendar by month or by week, and then we can return to the menu at any time. Before we drill into any more, let's review some of the items in the Other panel. The Configure Menu button allows us to personalize. For example, if we don't work with tickets, we could simply click to hide it. And we could also move things around. So if we wanted our notes and history, oops, I just hit it. If we wanted our notes and history to appear at the top, we could just move it like so using these arrow buttons. And then we just click Save to save our selection. Now if I expand the menu again, you'll see that I no longer see tickets, and notes history is the first item in my Go-To panel. Now I'll collapse the Go-To panel again so we can see the items on the Other menu. So the next button is the Settings button. This allows us to clear saved credentials and to clear storage. Clearing our saved credentials just turns off the Remember Me selection so that you can see the logon screen again the next time you launch the app. Clearing the storage clears all of the local data that your browser keeps for you in the event that you don't have an internet connection. For example, if you turn your phone to airplane mode, and you can still access SalesLogix as long as you already had the app running in your phone's browser and that you visited some of the records at least one time. In other words, to take advantage of local storage, the first time you access SalesLogix Mobile with a network connection, you may want to navigate around to your favorite accounts and contacts so that you collect that data for offline use at a later time. Okay, I'm going to return to the menu. And the next item is the icon for help, which I encourage you to check out. It contains everything that I'm telling you about right now, including those lookup by preferences that we explored a little bit earlier. For example, this is where I knew that the activity lookup searches in the regarding field using the contains preference. And then finally we have the option to log out of SalesLogix Mobile. One item that you may notice is missing from earlier versions is the top icon. So instead of having a button now at the bottom of every page like previous versions, to quickly get to the top of a screen without having to scroll, all you need to do is tap the toolbar of the page. So let's demonstrate that by going to the Accounts view, where we have a lot of records. And you'll see that as I scroll through this list, the page loads dynamically. I no longer have a button that says load more records that I have to click. It just simply loads them for me. So once I get pretty far down on my list, if I want to get back to the top, all I need to do is tap anywhere in this green bar. That'll save you from a lot of scrolling on your device. Okay, that pretty much sums up everything in our global menu. So let's dive in with one of these features. Adding a new contact or account may be a pretty common action, so let's start with that one. And that way we can get a feel for data entry. So the type of field on a view is indicated by the icon at the right of the entry area. So this first one, name, is an edit field, so it works the same way you might expect on your PC. As soon as I tap anywhere in the field, a new screen appears so that I can segment the name by prefix if I need to, first name, middle, last, and so forth. And then again, all views within the mobile website, the OK is on the right here, or cancel's on the left, so we just click the green checkbox to save, and then now I can see that it formatted for me properly. So the account Email and web and phone are all regular text fields, so you can just click inside to type something. Let's jump down a little bit and see how a pick list works. So the title is a pick list. Once I click the pick list button, we can simply scroll through this list of available options and pick the option that we want. And if we want to pick that, it'll automatically save for us, and we're back to our Add Account Contact Edit view. I added a bit more information just so that we can see how activities work later. But when I'm ready to add the record, so now I'm adding a contact and an account record, save. Now we're looking at the account detail view for our new record. And again, we see those panels again where you can just click the blue arrow button to collapse or expand different things so you can avoid scrolling. Now if we want to change any of these values, we're no longer on edit mode, so that we have to scroll to the top or click the top button and click this edit icon in the upper right that allows us to get back into edit mode, so this is where we can change data. Anything you see in detail mode with a blue dotted line, like this one, is an indicator that when you click the item, you'll link out to something else, in this case a website, or maybe another view within the mobile site. Also, if we do scroll down here, every detail view has a related items panel, and this is similar to the More Tabs area that you might be familiar with in the web version of SalesLogix or the Windows version. If I tap Contacts, for example, I see all the contacts for this account. In this case, there's only one because I just added it, but I could easily add more contacts for this account using the Add button here. Now, just like with activities that I showed you earlier in the list view, if I click the contact icon, I see more quick actions for that record without actually having to open the view. Earlier I showed you how to record a to-do item to history, but you may be wondering how emails and phone call activities are recorded on a mobile device. Let's just use email as an example. Once I click or tap the email icon, you'll see that whatever email application that I have configured on my mobile device will open and allow me to compose a new message. Because I'm on a PC, it opened my default mail client app, which allows me to compose and then send from here. Once I send this message, so I'm just going to click, we can see that SalesLogix Mobile has been waiting for us behind the scenes to automatically start a new note for us. And this note will appear in our Notes tab of the Notes history to serve as a record of the activity. However, unlike the Send SLX feature that you may be familiar with in the web or Windows client, the contents of the message itself isn't saved. At least not yet. There are a couple options that you could do. First, before sending that message, you could have copied the contents of that message to your clipboard and then pasted it in here in the notes field. The other option you have is maybe after you get back to your PC, you could drag and drop messages from your sent folder into SalesLogix. Otherwise, you could simply just type a quick summary of what it was that you did. This would be probably most beneficial if the message itself isn't as critical as recording that a message happened. This notes process works the same way for a phone call. Once you tap to make the call, SalesLogix starts a new note for you so that there's a record that you made a call, but not a transcription of your actual conversation. So that was an example of how to work with data once you find the record that you're looking for, but you're probably not always sitting on the record that you want to use like we were. So let's look at ways to search for information. Back at the global menu, I'll click Opportunities to see a list of all my opportunities that I have access to. And this list could be really long. So to search for information by opportunity name, this time I will use the Starts With preference, which means that if I want to find all opportunities for the mobile relief account, I'd have to type in mobile relief or maybe even the first part, MO. But I could not use relief because that does not start with. And then to clear the contents of the lookup box, all I have to do is tap that X and I can click lookup again and see all records. Another way to search for a group of records is to use hashtags. What I mean by that is to insert the hash symbol in the search box followed by a particular tag, like 1. So once I click lookup or enter, Now I'm looking at all opportunities that have been won, and you can see the status here. Closed one, closed one, closed one. Hashtags function similar to groups in the full product. Now, how did I know which hashtag to use? Easy. I found that within the help file. So for opportunity, the different hashtags that I could have used in addition to one would be open or lost. And then you can look at other entities that support hashtags. For example, when I'm looking at notes history, I could use a hashtag of note, phone call, email, meeting, or personal to see activities or histories of different type. So now I should see the where the status equals open. So you can play with hashtags a little bit, but another way that you could search within SalesLogix Mobile, which is new to version 2.2, is by using speed search. Speed search differs from a mobile lookup that we saw on the list views in a couple of ways. First, the search isn't restricted to a subset of records in a particular group or entity. It will search within the out-of-the-box indices. Second, it uses a text search engine which includes thesaurus and stemming. So let's just show you an example. Let's suppose I got a couple extra tickets to the Diamondbacks game and I want to offer them to one of my customers who I remember being a fan of the team. How I might use speed search is to search for Diamondbacks. And taking a look at my results, I noticed that some of the records have the word diamond in them, so that's why they were returned. And some of them aren't especially obvious, like the notes history items. So let's just take a look at one of these items. Now I can see the entire record and the full contents of any note that might have matched the search, such as this one. So that's how speed search works, but one index in which I'm not currently able to search is the attachments index. Let me backtrack a little bit and talk about attachments when they are attached to a record. So for example, I'm just going to open an existing account record that I know has lots of attachments. I'm going to open Abbott Limited, and under the related items there's an attachments view that I can go to, and these are all the attachments that are added to the Abbott Limited account. Attachments that are added to the record in this way using the mobile client or even done through the web or Windows interfaces are available for viewing on the mobile client by all users who have access to the record. For example, I'm looking at some of the attachments that a lot of them I have added, Lee Hogan, but some of them I see that the administrator has added. So again, this is where I can see all attachments added by other users. What we have in version 2.2, in addition to that, is a My Attachments view. This view, on the other hand, shows only the attachments that the currently logged on user has uploaded, so in this case Lee Hogan. So this means either directly from this view or by attaching it to another record. So within this view you can do a lookup to search within the description field using a contains lookup preference. So if I'm looking for a EULA perhaps, I can search there and narrow my attachments in that manner instead of using speed search. And I can click to view the attachment or download the attachment and open it in whatever application that is appropriate to my device. If I click the Add button to add a new attachment, all I have to do is click or tap right on those words there and go ahead and find whatever file it is I want to attach. Click Open. We can add a description. Click Upload. The file will appear in your My Attachments list, but more often than not, you will be adding attachments to a particular entity. So if we pick the new contact we added, for example, open the record, you'll find the attachments down here, and you'll see that it references the entity to which you're attaching the file. So when we click Add, the interface is the exact same thing we saw earlier. Let's maybe choose an image this time. Click Upload, and this time that attachment is attached to a particular entity. And now we can see the image. So if I went back to my Attachments list, I should now see this icon. I can get to it from here. So I like to think of the My Attachments list as just a way to be able to search through your attachments and reserve the task of adding new attachments to a particular entity. If I click the menu item again, I can explore more features, which is where I'm going to hand it off to you and encourage you to go out and explore SalesLogix Mobile 2.2 for yourself. After watching this video, you should now be able to log on to SalesLogix Mobile, locate the options for setting up offline data access, configuring your menu, and accessing help. You should be able to easily link to different mobile pages and actions with the fewest taps and touches. You should be able to quickly enter new or modify existing data, like we added a new account or edited a scheduled activity. You should also be able to describe the process you might use to record the contents of a mobile email message to SalesLogix history. You should be able to use hashtags to search for groups of records in mobile list view. And finally, you should be able to explain the difference between mobile lookups and mobile speed search. For more training on the SalesLogix features themselves, visit training.saleslogix.com.